The American dream has become a nightmare. Signs of the time are on cardboard on corners in town. Like a cancer that's silently spreading, there's an unspoken fear. We're on our way down. We must take America back. Main Street to Wall Street, cities and states, Washington, D.C. Before it's too late, there's not long. We need leaders who lead us, not stick us and bleed us, then ransom our future and our children's, that's wrong. We must take America back as liberty weeps, our forefathers spin in their graves. Pray God will bless some way out of this mess. We must take America back.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the National Intel Report. I'm your host, John Statman, with you today on this 18th day of May, 2017. And if this is the Toys Day in the month, that means Trends Journal, Trends Research, Gerald Celente. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Actually, where I am, it's Buonasera.
Buonasera?
Buonasera. It's good evening. I'm in New York.
That's right. Well, Gerald, I don't even know where to start. You know, I'm sitting in the office here today, and I'm thinking about the program today. I'm thinking about you coming on, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't even know where to start. Let's
start with this. Okay. Let's start with the election. And we're both old enough. We've both been around long enough. I'm the same age as President Trump. After every election in this country, in all my life, regardless of who got elected, and you know I'm no fan of either Clinton or Trump, but whoever got elected, it was okay. This is a democratic country. We had an election, and now it's up to us to support the person that won the election. That didn't happen with Trump. Here's the fact. The first day after he won the election, for example, in USA Today, presidents enter White House with 74 lawsuits. The words to that effect. The Russians rigged the election. The Russians rigged the election. And then it was, let's have a vote recount. Let's have a vote recount. Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, those are Democratic strongholds. How did Trump win? We need a recount. And I remember being on with you when there was the fear that they were going to rig the Electoral College, so they throw it to Hillary Clinton. This was week after week, day after day, hour after hour. It's been nothing. But how can we get rid of Trump? He shouldn't be the President of the United States, being promoted by the murderous thieves, the Democratic Party, as are the Republicans, by the way, and the mainstream media prostitutes. So that's where we'll begin. And the anti-Russian sentiment, all anyone has to do is look at the new cover of Time magazine. Now, before you decide to Google it up and look at it, do you read Time magazine?
Nope.
Who does? How about not in Time magazine? How about a crappy little piece of publication with cheap paper that talks about nothing that anyone cares about? Look at that cover. And they have a picture of the White House. And a good portion of the White House is painted in red and resembles the Kremlin. This is propaganda at the lowest, infantile, psychopathic mind that only little slimers that have become the media in America would produce. Why do we hate Russia? I know why. Look what they did to Muammar Gaddafi. Oh, no, that wasn't Russia. That was the Nobel Piece of Crap Prize winner, Barack, quote, I'm really good at killing people, Obama. Yeah, but look what the Russians did with Afghanistan. It's the longest war in their history. No, that's the longest war in American history. And on the little peanut farmer, arrogant, I love God killer, he's the one that put together the Taliban and the Mujahideen to get Russia out of there when they were trying to get the radicals out. No, I know. Russia was they're the country that said Saddam Hussein has to go. He has weapons of mass destruction and ties to Al-Qaeda. I could keep going on.
Well, and it's so blatant and in your face. In the situation in Syria, Gerald, I'm looking at this, and what did they do? A couple of days ago, here's these de-resed supposed satellite photos.
Oh, I saw that from 2015.
And here's Assad killing people at a prison and trying to hide the evidence by burning the bodies. And I'm, it's like
try this one on. 2 days ago, do you know how many people the Americans killed in Syria with bomb drops?
I know about 500,000 people are dead. I'm not quite sure of how many we killed.
Last week, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, didn't make any of the American news. 42. This bombing, they keep dropping bombs and destroying countries. We're doing it. We got precision bombs. We're getting Al-Qaedas and we're getting ISIS's. The United States is slaughtering more innocent people on a daily basis, and it's not reported in any of the prostitute media. I'm mentioning this to you because we spend our days going through all of the world media that we can possibly bring up to find this information. But you know, John, it's okay to bomb them, but don't use gas. Gas is so World War I. And Assad used gas. Of course, he didn't. There was no proof. Russia and Syria asked to bring in a UN commission to look into the latest false attack. And I'm mentioning this because you just said the one about the cremating people, and a satellite photo from 2015 shows it was snowing that day, and this area that had a lot of heat coming out from it, and that's consistent with what a crematorium looks like. I'm not making this up.
You know, it seems as if they're just doing this for giggles, because it's not even a carefully crafted lie anymore. It's like they don't even care how blatant and how Swiss cheese their lies are. It doesn't matter. You know, I mean, how many more times do I have to see the guy being trotted out, the Special Forces guy that was responsible for killing, whatever, Osama bin Laden, that we know that died, when? 2001, November of 2001?
And we can't show you his body either. You know, we got to dump it in the ocean.
Yeah, that's right.
But in the middle of nowhere.
But here are these people in front of God and all his people being brought up on Fox News and the like, and the gatekeepers and the statists, they never saw butchery in a war that they didn't like. You know, and people are not catching on to this. What has happened to the American psyche? What has happened to the American memory? Because when Barack Obama was in, everybody was clamoring, you know, we need to shut down this Middle East thing. You know, we all knew it was based on lies. That was even being, that verbiage was used, that narrative was used on mainstream media. We need to put an end to this. And then all of a sudden we're right back at it. Gerald, I'm serious about this. In all the years I've been doing this, I'm just kicked back in a chair right now with my arms folded, and I'm going, what in the hell? Well, what rabbit trail do they want you to hop down now? And I've said this specifically about the Middle East. that people want to know what terrorist group is moving in and taking over and al-Nusra and the Caliphate. And I said, folks, I'm not even going to cover it because it's all BS to begin with. They want you to drop down this rabbit hole. You know, I know how this picture is framed. I know the content of this puzzle. I know the players, the cause and effect people, not the little people that are being funded and going after that group and getting them agitated and stirred up and, you know, topple this government. Look, we know the 7 countries had to go down. Iran is the last on the list. But we have a problem with Syria. Who was the schmuck over in Israel 3 days ago that says, you know, we just ought to go in there and assassinate Assad?
Yep.
Yeah.
That didn't make that hardly made the news either.
Yeah, that's like that was words that were spoken that were never meant to be heard. I hear them, you hear them, but we're on this fast track to hell, fighting wars that we can't afford. Morally, we are bankrupt. We have nothing. We've been fighting and killing somebody on this planet, and this really goes to the core of my being, Gerald, that as a country for the last 222 years, we've been blowing people up, turning them into human confetti, stealing, robbing, rigging, deposing, causing all kinds of chaos and death for 222 years of our existence.
Well, look, you know that, I mean, I put my money where my mouth is. I launched Occupy Peace. .us. It's only about us. That's why I said .us. I had Ralph Nader here, Cindy Sheehan, who camped out in front of George Bush's Texas ranch for months after her son was
I saw her up there, and I'd spoken with her several times.
Yeah, I had Dr. Robert Thurman, Uma Thurman's father, who's a renowned Buddhist. Gary Null from New York City, closed down the streets here in Kingston, and I got virtually no support. Of course, I had to go into my retirement account to pull it off. And, you know, so I put my money where my mouth is when we talk about peace.
Wait a minute. Hold on here. So, Gerald, let me back up here. You didn't get support.
I got very little support. It cost over $150,000 to put it on. We got about $9,000 we raised.
Are people so shell shocked that they don't? Have they been immobilized? Have they been?
No, because what happened was Obama was president.
Yeah,
and you can see what's going on now, and it's talking about what you were talking about. For example, you know, with people, you know, they wish Obama was back, and then you bring up to them, you know, that you mention his murderous war policies and his drone strikes, quote, I'm really good at killing people, that have killed thousands of innocents and destroyed entire nations. You talk to them about his bailing out banksters and backtracking on campaign pledges to prosecute Wall Street criminals. You talk about Guantanamo. You talk about his doubling the national debt. You talk about him signing the National Defense Authorization Act in 2012 on New Year's Eve when no one was watching, that robs American citizens of habeas corpus rights. You talk to them about his promotion of the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and on, and it's taken as a personal affront, and it's met with denial.
Well, is it because they don't know, because the mainstream media has not informed them?
No, they know all these facts. Mm-hmm. Gerald, I don't want you to talk about them. How dare you not believe in the belief system that I believe in? I don't need facts. I believe in a belief system. What's wrong with you? I'm brainwashed. I'm a courageous, gutless little boy. I don't want to know any facts. I have my belief systems. I'm a coward. I will not stand up for facts. So when you and I talk about the need for peace and prosperity, they go together. And it's also with creativity. People don't get it. If you're if you're living in a life that's filled with turmoil, you think you're going to be creative. And again, I've mentioned this many times. You go back to the Jazz Age, between World War I and World War II. Art Deco, glamour. Hey, women want to talk about the freedom of women? Boy, it started coming together then. Big time. The hottest, happiest music America's ever seen. Look at the way Cab Calloway, Duke Ellington, Count Basie, Father Hines, Coleman Hawkins, look at the way these cats presented themselves.
Yes, and
how elegant.
And of course...
How elegant and dressed.
And of course, that we were just all racist and nobody ever listened to their music. They were trendsetters. Right. They were trendsetters. Exactly.
They were, exactly. But look at the dignity that they had. And look at now. As I say, you know, they say that pigs can't fly. Go to the airport.
Well,
look what the people look like. I'm trying to say that when you're in a declining society that's filled with hate, terror, fear, there's no room for creativity, elegance, grace, and dignity.
It's all mangled. It's all misrepresentation. It's all tilted upside down and popped inside out. And that's
perfectly said.
And that's where we're at right now. Hey, I wanted to play you a clip. Dennis Kucinich. Have you ever spoken to him?
No, but I know people who know him well, and yeah.
Okay.
I lost respect for Dennis Kucinich when Obama took him on his Air Force One, and Kucinich was the deciding vote to bring in Obamacare.
Well, he was interviewed on Sean Hannity the other night. This is a 2-minute and 30-second clip. I want to play this.
You're going.
Because here, you'll hear it. It'll pop out at you. But I don't want to say I didn't admire the man. But being who he was a Democrat. He made no bones about that. Yeah, was he a little liberal? Yeah, was he a little socialistic? Yeah. But you always knew where Dennis Kucinich was coming from. He never did the doublespeak political stuff. And he always spoke, and he believed what he had said. You know, he wasn't one of these typical politicians.
No, you're right. He stuck by his word, except as I said, with Obamacare.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, look at Dennis Kucinich and the deciding vote versus now and what they're trying to cram down our throats, and it doesn't matter if you're a donkey or you're an elephant. Doesn't matter. We're literally partyless.
Oh, yeah. No, we should, yeah. No, and that's what, by the way, just before you play that, what you just said, partyless. We need a third party. I call them progressive populists. And if people don't think we could have a third party, you look at the election in France, whether you like the guy or not, he started a new party a year ago, and he's the youngest person to be elected president of France. So if they could do it there, we could do it here.
I don't even want to get on to that issue.
No, I'm not talking about him, as I said. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the opportunity.
No, I got you. Here's Dennis Kucinich on Sean Hannity. I think this was last night, yeah.
Hey, welcome to Hannity. Welcome back. That is former Congressman Dennis Kucinich is making major news tonight by saying the deep state is trying to destroy Donald Trump's presidency. He joins us now. That's the former Ohio Congressman, former Mayor of Cleveland, and Fox News contributor, along with former Arkansas Governor, also a Fox News contributor, Mike Huckabee. How bad is this, former Congressman Kucinich?
Well, you have a politicization of the agencies that is resulting in leaks from anonymous, unknown people, and the intention is to take down a president. Now, this is very dangerous to America. It's a threat to our republic. It constitutes a clear and present danger. It constitutes
Wait a minute.
Our republic. It constitutes a clear and present danger to our way of life. So we have to be asking, what is the motive of these people? Who's putting these leaks out? Why doesn't somebody come forward and make a charge and put their name and a reputation behind it instead of attacking through the media and not substantiating their position?
Sir, you agree with me. This is a real danger when you have the intelligence community in an election season under the guise of national security that are spying on an opposition party candidate and transition team at a 600% increase rate from the years prior to the election season?
Well, we have to remember this. You know, our first allegiance is to our country. This isn't about one president. This is about the political process of the United States of America being under attack by intelligence agencies and individuals in those agencies. Yes, as you said, there might be some good people in there, but there are certain individuals who are the lifers who want to be able to direct the policy of the country, and if a president stands in their way, whether it's a Democrat or Republican, they'll just try to run that person out. Let me just repeat what you said.
You're saying President Trump is under attack by the deep state intelligence community. Fair statement?
Well, I believe that. Not only that, Sean, but it has to be pointed out in October of 2016, that same deep state overrode the decision of President Obama and Secretary Kerry to come to an agreement with Russia over in a ceasefire in Syria. They overrode it and launched an attack against a Syrian military base. So this is a problem in our country. We've got to protect our nation here. People have to be aware of what's going on. We've got to stand up for America now. This isn't about Democrat, Republican. This is about getting what's going on in the moment and understanding that our country itself is under attack from within.
So we're going to put Robert Mueller, former head of the FBI, in charge of Russiagate, for a lack of a better term. So he fires James Comey. 6 months ago, Democrats saying, yeah, he needs to go. And now it's the greatest sin since unsliced bread. But, you know, we're going to pick Senator homosexual Joe Lieberman.
Isn't that disgusting? My God.
I'm looking at this and I'm going,
oh, my God.
I don't know who is in control. Has Trump thrown up his hands and just said, hey, deep state boys, come on in, you run the show?
I have no idea.
Pentagon,
I want to go back to. I want to stop with Kucinich. Think of how they were introduced. Fox News contributor.
Yeah.
You know what that means, right?
I don't know. Does that mean they're getting paid?
You got it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I used to be on Fox News a lot.
Were you ever paid?
Not a penny. I used to be on the Today Show, Good Morning America, CNN, on, Oprah, you name it, on and on and on. Fox News contributor. Fox News paid mouthpiece. Let's call a spade a spade. That's all they have on all these shows. I turn on CNN. I want to hear Axelrod. I want to hear Kirby, the little clown that was a little boy that was a spokesperson for the Defense Department. I want to hear little Georgie Stephanopoulos, a little mouthpiece boy of nothing that used to be the mouthpiece for the Clintons for Bill Clinton. I want to hear little Chrissy Cuomo, who'd be a nobody if his old man wasn't Mario Cuomo and his brother wasn't Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York. This isn't news. This is BS, man. This is just propaganda. And they only pull out sound bites of what they want at the time they want them. A Fox News contributor. How about a prostitute? I'm getting paid to put out. Let's call it what it is.
You know,
if Kucinich was an honorable man, he would not be doing that. He's paid for.
And it struck me when he said this republic. You know, the narrative is we're a democracy. We're a democracy.
You got it.
This has been
He's paid for.
Yeah.
He's paid for. End of conversation to me. You want to pay a whore, you pay a whore, she puts out. You pay a prostitute, they put out. Whether it's the John on Main Street or the John on Wall Street or the John from Washington, D.C., you're getting paid to put out.
So do we,
Fox News contributor.
So do we think that Senator Joe Lieberman, that's supposed to be politically neutral, now looks like he's going to be picked? I personally would have, if I had a field to pick from, I would have picked Trey Gowdy. He's like a little pit bull. I think he backed out of this and he said, look, I've been in politics for 6 years in Washington, D.C. He said, you wouldn't want to see that confirmation hearing go on. It'd be an abject disaster. So we got people that are better suited.
I know what it is. I was the assistant to the Secretary of the New York State Senate. I know what it looks like inside. It's a disgusting... It was the worst job I ever had, to watch grown men grovel to suck their way up to the top. How do you think these FBI directors, CIA directors, all of them, they all suck their way up to the top? Remember that little boy Petraeus? No, he got to the top, General Petraeus. He married the daughter from the guy that used to run West Point. That's all these guys are. There's nothing. There's everything that you can't stand is what is. And as long as it comes from that rotted system, we're going to keep getting more rot.
And we're depending on the fox with the chicken in his mouth guarding the hen house that's going to get the bad guy and bring justice and put people in jail. Yeah, Gerald, last night I rewatched, and I hadn't seen it in years, I rewatched the Clinton Chronicles, which was a pretty solid documentary on the Clintons going back to Arkansas, pre-governor days. And this duo, the crime duo, surviving all of these years. And this is what I wanted to ask you, because I'm watching this scenario. Now we're down to the now disproven there wasn't any cahoots or conspiracy theories here between Trump and Vladimir Putin, U.S., Russia, and we're still pumping that narrative. But here's Hillary Clinton, one of the most corrupt people that have ever occupied any seat, let alone U.S. Senate, Secretary of State, White House, First Lady, I don't care. The most corrupt individual that you would ever want to run across, her and her hubby. And they are basically still standing now, mounting an offensive, a political offensive, back against whatever, the Trump Republic, I don't care what you call it, more drama and theater and chaos. And Gerald, I've said this before, the cops, post rubber room coercion and phone books, they learned another tactic, and the prosecutors learned it as well. You get somebody and you got the goods on them, and they know that they have gotten caught, and then you ask for names. If you can't squeeze the information out of them, then you say, hey, look, we'll give you immunity. We had Condoleezza Rice come out, or Susan Rice, rather, come out, making a trip to the Justice Department, saying, and the news media did not pick this one up, saying that I'll start talking, but I need immunity. The vinyl is starting to suck up off of chairs, and I've heard people say, Gerald, and you would probably have a better sense knowing the muck of the swamp because you're around it. And I've watched this, and I'm going, they just need to get the right person in the right place to start naming names. And the whole...
I agree with you.
Just skip that break. There is a way to do this, to bring down this Clinton cabal.
I agree with you. And that's what this is, more than a deep state. It's the Democratic Party. That's the deep state. And it's the Republican Party. They don't want an outsider in there. It's not a deep state. It's the club. And this guy broke the club up. And they're clubbing him for it. They don't want anybody from the outside. That's why they want a Pence in there. A pence, a penny, a copper penny, and that's all he's worth.
Scott in Arizona, you're on with Gerald Celente. Hello, Scott.
Hello, my friends. John, Gerald, thank you both for your independent, different, variety formats. I enjoy them both. I must say that the deep state will not quit like bulldogs, but either will we, like a pit bull that I trained to jump up and grab somebody by the cojones and hang on there. But anyway, no, this is what we need to continue to do because they're going to destroy... and Trey Gowdy has his own reason for not wanting to get involved in this. Maybe Trump has bigger plans, but everything Trump is trying to do, they're dashing it. Now, I know Trump has an ulterior motive in regard to to his agenda. And he can only do so much, and everybody's labeling him as a do-nothing, can't do anything. It's because of these pigs that still are trying to hold on to power.
Well, which ones are you talking about? You talking about Republicans or Democrats now?
What's the difference, John?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what are your thoughts, fellas?
Gerald, do you want to take a whack at that one?
Well, no, it's as long as the Democrats and Republicans are in charge, it's going to just be the same. It's a two-headed, one-party system. And as I mentioned earlier, we just saw again, whether you like it or not, and of course I don't like the guy that was elected as president of France, Macron, 39-year-old. It's not a conspiracy theory, Rothschild banker. The fact is, he started a new party, and he won. He beat both established parties. He's the youngest president in France. We could do the same thing here. And
Gerald,
we need a new way.
I'm sorry, but Macron is a communist. He's a socialist.
Well, forgetting what he is or what he... I'm not... Again, as I said, whether you like him or not, it's not the issue. What I'm trying to say is nothing is going to change here unless we have a new party.
And I think it's demonstrated, Gerald, that's exactly... And by the way, Scott, thank you for your call. I appreciate it. We were talking about this the other day, and the example of the two political parties in Washington, D.C., the Gambinos and the Genoveses. And we were trying to figure out...
the Bloods and the Crips.
Yeah, and we were trying to figure out who originated that, and somebody said that it was you, and I thought it was Bob Chapman.
I call them the Bloods and the Crips. It must have been Chapman.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Jeez. Gerald, I'm serious about that. It's getting harder and harder to maintain an even strain against the pool there and, be objective. I'm sitting here, how do you objectively talk about sheer insanity that was designed to be just that? Sheer insanity. Is this...
Insane. We have insane... Why don't people call insane people insane? And that's what's going on here. There's never been this level of dysfunction in this nation. At every level. I mean, look what happens. The so-called media. You called it the press before. I didn't want to interrupt you. But the last thing I would call it is the press. And you look at, for example, the virtually every day. What Bill Maher said, what John Oliver said, what Stephen Colbert said. How about what Rosie O'Donnell? How about what Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse said? Why am I hearing this?
Because
why am I hearing what comics are saying? And that's what I'm trying to say to you, John.
Mm-hmm.
This is how low it's sunk. That comedians are now held up as statespersons' levels. And then you have a president that tweets in response to what Rosie O'Donnell says or Stephen Colbert says. What's going on here? And then you have every election cycle, you see the candidates going out and yucking it up with these TV court jesters. Do you need any more proof of how low it's gone? Could you imagine Eisenhower doing this?
What's your thoughts on Seth Rich? Now, Julian Assange, this is as jump in one puddle than hop in the other puddle if I've ever seen him. In an interview, he was asked about Seth Rich, and he was saying that, we don't divulge names. I watched Sean Hannity. What was that? I think it was January of this year. He went over to London, sat down, had an interview with Julian Assange, asking him, where did these leaks come from? Did they come from Russia? He said unequivocally. He said, no, they did not. Did they come from the U.S.? He said, I can't say. Well, and it turns out it apparently Seth Rich, that was killed, July 10th of last year, might be the source of the emails that were sent to WikiLeaks. And here we have Seth Rich that, it was a murder. It was a hit. But nothing was taken. Wallet, cell phone, watch. 300 feet from his house, And the only thing that was missing wasn't from his person. I guess it was his computer, probably had a PC as well as a laptop, missing from his house. And Gerald, I'm telling you, the whistleblowers are starting to get the idea, though, I blow the whistle. I'm blowing my own funeral tap.
You got it. You got it. Oh, and by the way, all you Obama lovers out there, he prosecuted more whistleblowers in his 8 years in office than all the other presidents combined.
Gerald, it's amazing because I know what you're trying to do here, and you want to basically love this thing in and let's have some peace here. But you can't have a conversation with anybody that's in government that would understand that concept because they're structured, they're psychopathic, they're warmongers, they have no conscience. If you can't feel remorse if you have no conscience. We have a country that has just demonstrated repeatedly that it doesn't give a hang about its citizens. It's more involved in enriching themselves, getting themselves reelected, more about covering their own butts and each other. If it means somebody starts talking, somebody else goes to jail. This is exactly what has to take place. And I don't know where we've tried all the boxes here. We're still using the soapbox for those that have the ears to hear. We've tried the jury box. Prosecution, lawyers pretty much fixed that one. We had the ballot box, and, well, here's your vote, one from column A or one from column B, and take all the baggage and the crap along with your choice there. The only thing that I see left is something that is 180 degrees out from peace and love, and that's a restoration project, cartridge box time.
Well, again, I believe in a third party, and I believe it could happen, and nobody really wants to talk about it.
Well,
and I call it progressive populist. Progressive in terms of, living a better quality of life, not destroying the environment. Again, all these.
Yeah, but do I need a political party to do that, or do I just need?
No, you need a political party because of the system.
Didn't they call themselves the Libertarians, and look what they put forth?
No, the Libertarians don't do it because they're on one end. And I have great Libertarian friends, but they don't believe in any kind of government regulation, where I do. And I'll give an example. When I was a young man, and I got to the top of the corporate world pretty quickly, at 24 years old, I was flying first class. There were 150 airlines. And what do you want, a lobster thermidor or are they rolling out a roast? They used to compete on service because the government demanded that they only could make so much profit. This is a public service. There were 150 airlines. And another arrogant little boy, may he rot in hell, Alfred Kahn, Kahn, no, Kahn, another professor under Jimmy Carter, deregulated the industry, and everyone knew it would be a disaster. And now we have two companies, a monopoly, running it like it is. Hey, you want less leg room? Just wait a little bit more. Americans going to shorten it down to 29 inches.
Rack and stack
They're robbing
and
us
pack 'em.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So libertarians don't believe in that. I do. I loved Ma Bell. Oh, yeah. Do you remember the service we used to get back then? It was a public service. Remember how cheaply we used to pay for telephone rates? It was a public service. So that's why I disagree with them. I believe in public services. So anyway, going back to progressive populist, I also am totally against multinationalization and globalization because I know the facts. I know that 8 people in the world have more money than half the world's population combined. I know that 20 people in the United States have more dough than half the population in America. And then I hear a guy like Trump wanting to lower the top tax rate from 39.6 down to 35. Under Reagan, it was 70%. Under Eisenhower, it was 90%.
Dennis in Florida. You're up next with Gerald Celente.
Greetings from Florida. This is a New York boy from Yonkers originally.
Oh, in God's way.
I grew up in Yonkers as well, Bronx and Yonkers. Where in Yonkers?
I lived on the west side and the east side, both sides of town.
Where? What street?
I lived over there down the street. I started out down the street from Steve Tyler from Aerosmith. And then I wound up on Warburton Avenue and down in South Yonkers. Gerald, I'm surprised I didn't run into you back in the day when I was fighting affirmative action within the Yonkers administration and federal government when they put the busing in there, you know.
Well, you know, when I got out of graduate school, I ran Angelo Martinelli's first campaign. I was the #2 guy.
Martinelli came over to my house. He was the only person that ever came over to my house and lent us an ear, even though he was out of office.
Yeah,
and
so that's how far back I go.
That was my beginning of seeing what was going on with the federal government. But here's another thing that'll really blow your mind. I did a little research on Comey, and I went back to past commanders of the Yonkers Police Department. And Comey's grandfather came on the job there in 1922 and somehow rose through the ranks. And, you know, they talk about having a godfather, that he must have had a lot of political godfathers and people in the press and people generating news stories for him, okay, that he wound up being the only lieutenant to ever be the acting police chief where they shafted police captains, okay, and they didn't get made, but he served at the request of the police, the commissioner of public safety. In fact, they even created a deputy commissioner job for him. And he went on later on to work running probably Leak and Watts' home down on the Bronx line there, and some other ad executive place down in New York City. But if you look at the family, okay, it goes all the way back to the grandfather, okay? He set the tone, and his son moved to Jersey to get the heck out of Yonkers, and Comey, I think he may have been born in Yonkers, I'm not sure, but if you look at him, same thing, politicization, the same stuff you talked about being up there in Albany with grown men kissing butt to get ahead. And that's what we are faced with here. I've seen it in the back rooms in local politics back there years ago. And I just wanted to bring that out, okay, because a lot of people don't know that. And all I had to do was look up the past commanders of the Yonkers Police Department, and the name Comey was there. But the press that's out there about Comey, all the wonderful things that they print about him on all these different websites and stuff. And it's unbelievable. I just wanted your thoughts on how deep this whole thing goes here.
Well, again, that's what I said. You don't get to the top unless you suck your way up to the top. You're a member of the club. And as George Carlin used to say, it's a club and you ain't in it. Yeah. You're not going to get in it. So it's all a rigged game.
So Dennis,
and again,
Dennis, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Gerald.
No, that's all. No.
No, I was just going to ask. I was just going to ask Dennis, how did a boy from Yonkers make it down to God's waiting room?
Well, I still have property in the Catskills. In fact, they used to hang out up at Levon Helms Farm up there in Woodstock.
Where were you? You're up in Woodstock?
I used to hang out up there. I used to help out with the concerts.
Where's your property? Where's your property?
I'm actually down more towards Port Jervis, just on the borderline of Sullivan County.
Okay, because I'm up in Colonial Kingston.
Yeah, I know where you are. I'm going to have to take a visit up there and drop in and say hello. It saddened my heart to hear how much you had to dig in to try to get your project off the ground for the peace movement, But I think there's a lot of us that are getting fed up with these wars, as Ron Paul pointed out, all right, that are bankrupting the country. That's what it is. And I had a teacher that taught remember when they used to call it social studies?
Yeah.
Back in junior high school, they called it social studies, and I had a very good social studies teacher in junior high school in Yonkers named Mr. Campbell that taught us about fiat money, spheres of influence, and how America was like Rome in the final days. And this is back in the '60s, you know.
But where did you go to high school?
Walt Whitman Junior High, and I went to Saunders on the other side of town after that.
Yeah, that was the trade school, Saunders.
Yeah, they turned my high school into a police headquarters. They call it the Justice
I saw that. Yeah, I went to Gorton.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Now here's a test for you. Where did you get the best heroes?
The best heroes?
Yep.
A lot of them were my teachers.
No.
No, sandwich.
Sandwich is a hero.
Oh, the best heroes, Landy's.
You got it.
Yep.
What was it, Willow Street, right?
On Willow Street. And if I was going to go for pizza, I either went down on Main Street or I wound up out in Carlos on Tuckahoe Road.
Carlos on Tuckahoe Road. Remember DeFemio's?
Yes, I used to hang out there too. Yeah.
Yeah, great jazz they used to play there. Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I don't want to break up this little reunion here. A few years down the road, but this is not probably helping the listening audience any.
Okay.
But the Philly steak, they look, Dennis. The only sandwich I don't know about heroes. I've eaten New York pizza, which I love. They make it like nobody else. But yeah, I go to Philadelphia for the Philly cheesesteak.
Well, I actually did some searching down here in the Tampa area and Ybor City. I found a place called New York Pizza, and they make a real good thing. John, hang in there, John. I know it's not easy. We're all stressed financially. I am right now taking care of a 98-year-old mother financially, okay? I keep her in her home, and I keep people taking care of her. We're faced with that. We're all about that age with elderly parents and stuff like that. And we don't rely on the government to do everything for us, you know? But it all comes down to if we want to work hard enough, we're going to try to get the message out. I was down here with Ron Paul, ran for office. I tried to get into the convention, and I saw the abuse of the police powers in Ybor City. They use it for training grounds at night. And they just took over the streets with their mounted police and stuff like that. The stuff they were getting away with really lets you know that we're living in a fascist state. People better wake up because we are living in a state of fascism.
We are, and I think the point that needs to be illustrated here is that this is when I got into this, Gerald, I knew that this was a long-term commitment. How long, I didn't exactly know. I knew it wasn't going to be easy. I didn't know it was going to be this hard, but I'm not complaining. But I realized something, that as many hits as people have taken, financially, emotionally, culturally, socially, to sit around and literally watch what they used to love and know literally fall apart all around them. And a long time ago, I reached the conclusion that this is a long-term project. I am watching the ne'er-do-wells, the grafters, the grifters, the murderers, the thieves, the baggers, call them what you will. I'm watching the snake eating its own tail right now. And I'm more convinced than ever, Gerald, that the only thing that we have to do is keep and maintain and keep moving forward. They're getting desperate. They're pulling out all the stops right now. There are millions of people in this country that right now they're still in a state of shock, I am sure. But I know one thing, that this was not going to be an easy, it was going to be a long term, and we had to hang tough. And we couldn't quit. You haven't quit, Gerald. Why?
Well, because I have a definition for hell. My definition for hell is taking that last breath and knowing you weren't the person you said you were or could have been. And I wasn't put on this earth to take orders from anybody.
I'm sorry, who in L.A.? John in L.A.? Charlie in L.A., I'm sorry.
Before we talk to Charlie, I just want to mention that Catherine Austin Fitz just put up a great post about Comey. And she also pointed out that he was the former general counsel of Lockheed Martin, the largest defense contractor and weapons manufacturer in America.
She's a pretty sharp lady.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, your building, is it the Mohican?
No, I'm at the Mohegan Market, which is like an old A&P, but we also have the 1776 Academy, the 1750 Franz Rogan House, the 1763 Dr. Jensen House, and the most historic Four Corners in America.
Okay, and do you do the TV show from upstairs in the
Out of the Mohegan.
Okay, I thought I'm looking at the picture on your site, trendsresearch.com. Okay, that's where you're at right now?
Yep.
Can you peek out the window?
and if anyone would like to get the Trends Journal, just go to trendsresearch.com. It's only $99 a year, and there's a discount request page for people who can't afford it. The full price. And it's not, we do Trends of the News, Trends Monthly, Trend Alerts, Trends Journal. New Trends Journal will be out next week, and it's the only place where you're going to read history before it happens.
All righty. Charlie in L.A., and I take it that's not in Lower Alabama. Hello.
It's Los Angeles.
Okay. How you doing, Charlie?
Good. I was listening to a podcast a few days ago, and the guy said that the healthcare system in England is paid for by the profits of Shell Oil. Now, I don't know if that's absolutely true, but I'm going to look into that, but I think this guy is telling the truth.
How?
The profits of Shell Oil out of Iran, he said, pays for the healthcare system in England.
So they're under the illusion that the taxpayer is paying for the system over there, but it is so upside down that they got to pull in more funds, and it's coming from an oil company?
It's been coming from Shell Oil for a long time. That was the deal when they went into Iran.
Gerald, that's a new one on me. Have you heard that?
The guy said.
Yeah, because
the guy said that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. What did the guy say?
Well, he said that when they had the sanctions against Iran, if you were already in Iran, it didn't affect you. So then that's how he got onto the path where he said that the profits from the money that's generated out of Iran pays for the healthcare system in England. Now we could get government out of healthcare here if all we got to do is take the profits from ExxonMobil. I mean, when you get $100 billion profit quarters in one oil company, not hard to do. But next item I want to get on to, and I get off real quick, that Seth Rich, if that's a true story that he was shot in the back and they left him with all his money, I don't see anybody in Washington doing anything but talking. You bring in Mueller and Lieberman, they're too scared to start scratching at the surface of this.
They're the compromised ones. How do you go uncompromisingly into the night to go get your bad guy when you're compromised from the start?
They're just going to talk and yap, and I just don't see them. I see them as scared. They're not going. Nobody's going to want to mess with these people. So we'll see what happens. But I just think we're just going to see a dog and pony show until everybody can't stand hearing about it anymore.
I think part of this program, Gerald, we were talking about this today. Part of this exercise is to numb you into immobility, that you don't even care enough to cock an eyebrow anymore.
I don't know. It's been going on forever. Whether it's the Germans bowing down to a Hitler and having their country destroyed, which took thousands of years to develop. Berlin was grander than Paris before it was bombed out. How'd they let a two-bit freak destroy it? I'm Italian descent. How'd they let a clown like Mussolini, destroy their country? So it's been going on forever, and we're just in it now. And so to me, it's a weakness of the human spirit that's not going to come back again. And the motto of the Trends Journal is think for yourself. When you look at a Renaissance, it had to do with art and beauty. And those are two elements that don't exist today in so many different levels. Again, when you have a culture where the media is putting out virtually each day what a comedian says, and then we have a president tweeting in response to the comedian, you can see how low the bar has been sunk. When you see candidates going on The View and one little clown show after another and yucking it up again with the TV court jesters. You can see how low it's gone. So it's a whole decline of society as I see it. Look at the food that people eat. Again, all the liberals, you like those GMOs?
Mm-hmm.
I know, you love those drug ads they put on TV that Bill Clinton allowed to put on there. So I know what you really like. You like that only 6 companies now control over 90% of the media thanks to the Clintons. So you wish the Democrats were back. So I'm saying it's a lack of courage and a lack of culture.
We're running out of time here, and I just wanted, what does your schedule look like for next month?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay. I know you got a gig coming up over there in the United Kingdom.
Yep.
And the date on that?
June 10th.
Okay, so you're going to be back in town?
Yes, after that.
All right.
Later, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see you again next month, and I appreciate you stretching this out. A half hour was just too little for you, and then I decided to get more of you. I just bypassed all the breaks for this hour.
Well, thanks so much, and thanks for all that you do. As a gentleman from Florida said, it's when you look at the media and people watching Rachel Maddow, I'll tell you, how much time do we have left?
We got about 2 minutes.
Okay. So I used to be on Tucker Carlson's show all the time when he was with MSNBC. And one night, it was later in the night, they drive me down to Secaucus, New Jersey, which used to be, by the way, pig farms, abattoirs. Anyway, I'm in a small green room over there, and I'm listening to this person ahead of me. It's going on and on. I say, my God. And so Tucker Carlson, we were very friendly. He used to love having me on. And I said to him, who was that? I said, she's insufferable. He said, her name is Rachel Maddow. He said, they're grooming her to get on the show, to have her own show. I didn't know who it was. I'm sitting in the little green room right next to, we could hear. I'm saying this, and now look at her rating. She's like at the top of the list over here. Yeah. So when you're discouraged, it doesn't look. I've been banned from all of the. As I said, I've been on with everybody. People could look me up. I mean, they don't want me on anymore. So again, it's about your own integrity, and you just keep doing what you're doing, regardless of what the odds are against you, and you never know when they're going to change. And
I certainly will not accept the alternative, and I wouldn't know what else to do, because to me there is no alternative. By the way, my buddy Tom in Philadelphia, he says, "Tell Gerald I said hello." He's a Westchester County native from Mahopac. Mahopac?
Yeah, Mahopac.
Well, he says hello.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
All right, Gerald. Hey, I will see you next month, and stay safe, take care. And
you too. Thanks for all you're doing.
Well, I appreciate it, and thanks for what you're doing as well.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take the break, top of the hour here. I just have to outlast them, folks. And I'm telling you, just keep chugging along. Keep doing what we're doing. It's always darkest before the dawn, and I think you're seeing the best of what they can throw at us. They have a very few options left. Are they going to go to it? Man, I don't think they're going to start World War III and start nuking people. I think that's pretty much out. Financially, will they pull the plug? I don't know if they have to physically pull it. I think it's going to fall of its own dead weight. Second hour, National Intel Report coming up.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield Tactical Bipods. AROutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more. Plus mag-full clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AROutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AROutfitting.com.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.